Thanks. In my view, the Y20 is the most important group of stakeholders for the G20 for two reasons. One is you inherit the Earth that we've created, and secondly, at this point, you're not as invested in the current way or systems that have been created as people of our generation. The Treasurer of Australia has set a growth target of 2% for G20 economies, and barring a global catastrophe and allowing for a big dip with the global financial crisis, it's expected that each year this century it'll average out that the global economy will grow about 2%, perhaps 3% each year. And it means that the size of the global economy has grown massively, and some of the stats that you saw earlier from Joshua illustrated that. Between 1950 and 2000, the global economy grew 5 times. Between 2000 and the end of the century, it will be 80 times larger than 1950. And it begs the question, what on earth will that world look like? A world that is 80 times larger, a global economy that is 80 times larger than in 1950. We know there are a number of serious trends that are affecting the planet. So we have vast inequality. We've got a fifth of the world population earning just 2% of global income. The richest 20% on the planet earn 74% of global income. As Joshua showed, according to the UN Environment Programme, about 60% of the world's ecosystems are degraded. And we've got the threats of climate change. The world population is expected to peak at about 9 billion in 2050 and then stabilise. But there'll be massive population growth in 24 countries around the world, many of them G20 countries, but most of what are now classified as middle-income countries. So this is the planet that you, as you come into the prime of your lives, will be inheriting, and your children will inherit. So the issues of sustainability and inclusivity are absolutely essential to be tackled. And for the C20, that's the civil society grouping that I participate in, and we had our conference here just last month, in getting strong measures to be taken by the G20 governments on inclusivity. So this means tackling inequality is critical. So we would like to see an additional 2% economic growth above and beyond the normal rate of economic growth for the bottom 20% in each society of G20 countries and developing countries. We want to see the measures put in to see that take place. Secondly, we think there has to be meaningful action on climate change. There has to be take-up of market mechanisms, but also on the G20 agenda, there needs to be serious tackling of issues like fossil fuel subsidies. So for those of you in Australia that are used to seeing the TV ads from the Minerals Council of Australia, those huge trucks that drive around open coal cut mines, heavily subsidised by the Australian taxpayer. We need to cut those subsidies out. So there is a lot of opportunity in the G20 when you get 20 leaders coming together, and whatever the official communique and all the work that's going on in the various streams achieves, there is also the achievement, or not, of those 20 leaders when they come together for those few days up in Brisbane later this year. And what will they talk about? What will they think are the most important issues? So your role, I believe, is to actually have as much direct dialogue with your government leaders back home as possible, and also to put as much pressure on the Australian government to actually include the words inclusive development in the communique, and to also get climate change on the agenda. Thank you.